and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 500. Wow, it was weird to say that. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only is Too Fresh Crash. You thought one could do it because Ryan's here, didn't you?
I really didn't expect you to start
Hey, how are you, Crash?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Fix?
That's a little bit more energy than we usually get, so I appreciate it. We got a guest here, you got to show up. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Exactly.
You'll learn, Brian. You'll learn. Crash, a bit too fresh and cool for everybody. Laid back. That's what he does. It's what he does. We have got, of course, the one and only Mr. Matt P. Video. Matt, how are you?
Very well indeed. We were talking just before we came online. I've now been part of the podcast for more than 4 years and done at least 8 episodes. So
At least. Proud of you. Proud of you.
Yeah,
of course, we've got the man on the ones and twos. It is Paul Despawn.
Hello there. I have been on the episode for like 2 years, and I've done at least 3 times as Matt.
yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
That's guaranteed. And of course, the one, the only, is Mr. Ryan McCaffrey. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us again.
Happy to be here. Happy to return the favor. You're always so gracious whenever I ping you at the last minute. Hey, we've got an opening on Unlocked. Do you want to sit in with us? And it's like your evening when you're probably just relaxing and having dinner, and you're always like, sure, let's do it. So I am happy to return the favor, swing on by, and hang out with you guys.
I appreciate it. I really, really do. It's we figured out it's been 4 years since you were last on the podcast, which is probably bad on me because I just forget to ask people to come on the podcast. But I feel like episode 500 is a great episode to have you back on. So thank you.
I'm
Seriously,
honored, honestly. 500 is that's a milestone. I don't know what you're doing with me versus some actual like Xbox
Come on,
celebrities
Ryan.
or developers or something.
No, they don't love us. They don't love us like that, right? Xbox don't even give us codes. Right? They don't love us like that yet. We're still struggling out here. We're still struggling. No, you know this, but you and Greg Miller, obviously, the main reasons I started this podcast many moons ago with Ross Miller. Shout out Ross. He now works for Tesco's, I think, in marketing or something like that. Might be Netflix. I can't remember where he went to, but yeah, Ross and Kevin and Amy, and there's so many people that have been a part of this podcast, and I'm thankful for every single one of them. I ain't gonna do the rigmarole. You know who we are. You know what we be. This is My Xbox and Me. If you like what we do, come through, show some love. New rebrand. We are now called MXAM. No more My Xbox and Me. The podcast will still be My Xbox and Me, but the rebrand is MXAM. So we can cover a bit of everything, to be honest with you. We want to start doing more reviews, more previews. We've got a lot of previews coming up, actually. You might have seen a little bit of what we did with Assassin's Creed. I just did a new one as well that I can't talk about just yet, but soon come. But Ryan, I want to talk about you, man. I wanna see where you're at right now, to be honest with you. You are our topic of the show this week, to be honest with you. How are you feeling right now, man? Xbox as a whole. Like, Xbox has gone through its ups and downs right now, and is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Right? Are we finally there?
Well, I guess that depends on your perspective. So, because there are a lot of people that grew up really having the feeling like the loyalty to Xbox, and they've been Xbox people, and they would probably say no because all these games are now going to PlayStation and or Nintendo. I am too old. I'm like the Danny Glover. I'm too old for this shit. So
Yep.
I'm in the yes. All I've wanted so I've been podcasting about Xbox for not quite as long as Danny at Gamertag Radio. They just celebrated their 20th anniversary, and congrats to them. But I started doing the official Xbox Magazine podcast, which we called KOXM Radio. That started in, I think, early 06, which means 19 years. Yeah, because it was like February, I think. So like coming up on 19 years here in another week or two. And that covered the glory days of the 360, especially that first half of the 360's lifespan. And then the dark days of pretty much the entire Xbox One generation. And even the beginning of this generation's been, other than the surge of awesomeness in 2021, where we got like Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 and Psychonauts 2 and a few other things, it's been a little quiet this gen. But now, yeah, like I think we're finally there. Like I know it's like the boy who cried wolf at this point, like, or maybe the better analogy is, which I've used in in columns on IGN writing about this stuff is like in the Peanuts, I'm Charlie Brown and the folks at Microsoft are the football, just pulling it away every time I go to kick it. But no, I think like we're finally getting a not just good quality games, but a consistent flow of them. I mean, you know, we went
Let's
from
slow down. Let's slow down. We ain't seen it yet, Ryan. Slow down. Slow down. Slow down.
Well, hold on. But in the we got Stalker and what was the other? Oh, Flight Simulator,
Indiana.
which is not my bag personally, but
Yeah.
Flight Sim, Stalker 2, and Indiana Jones all within the span of like 6
Yeah, it was something like 6 months.
weeks?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like,
6 weeks.
yeah, it was a really, they were all concentrated together. And now here we go with Avowed out in a couple weeks. And we got all our bunch of release dates all for the first half of the year, other than Ninja Gaiden 4. But we got a few release dates for first half of this year. So we're starting to pick up some actual legitimate momentum here. Finally, that's what I was getting at is that's all I've wanted for the last like 10 years of Xbox is to have cool new games to talk about. And we're finally getting them.
I get you. Me and Crash smiled there because we talk about Crash. How often do we just talk about? Like it feels like we've been talking about it for so long, just waiting, right?
Yeah, whenever Xbox tends to like do something good, it's like it looks like they're lining up to do something good, but we have to wait for it to actually happen. That feels like
Right.
that's always the conversation with Xbox a lot of the time.
Well, that and they'll usually, as I always like to say, they'll step on the rake like right after. They'll do something good, and then it's like you're feeling good about Xbox, and then there's like some self-inflicted, just dumb thing that happens, like either some poor messaging on something or a big layoff, which of course is way more serious than just the momentum of us looking forward to cool games.
Yeah.
But yeah, it hopefully now there's some actual real good momentum, but I totally understand that you're skeptical, like you've been hurt and you're hesitant to love again.
Look, yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
That's
Yeah.
a great way to. I'm over it at this point. I think I'm at that point now, right? I'm over it. Go on, Matt.
What do you need for momentum to be proven, Fix? We've got do you agree that those 3 games that Ryan mentioned, Stalker, Indiana, and was it Flight Sim?
Flight Sim.
That's decent momentum. 3 games is pretty good.
I think
in
the
sort
issue
of
is I don't
last
care for
quarter of
any
life.
of those games, right? That's my biggest issue.
Okay. So what needs to hit for you now? Like,
know what I'm waiting
you're not
for?
interested in Avowed?
We're waiting for. Yeah, but I can appreciate what Avowed. I'm gonna play Avowed. I'm gonna. It's a big Xbox title, of course. I'm gonna play it. Don't try to throw me under the bus. I see what you're doing here, Matt. Don't try to pretend that I don't like video games all of a sudden. I've been doing this for 500 weeks. Never missed a week. How dare you? No, I think for me, I think you're right. No, but I think it's this next period for me. It's more than, you know what I'm like. 2025, new year, old game's old. I ain't thinking about anything behind us. Like, I think for me, it is Avowed. It is Fable. It is. Everything else going forward. I've been waiting for State of Decay for how long now? I'm just there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Keep waiting. Yeah, I'll keep waiting. I'll keep waiting. But yeah, it's one of those ones. I don't want to get hurt again. You're right, Ryan. I'm just scared. I'm scared to be like they're finally doing it. You know?
Yeah,
For
I get
me-
it. It makes sense, but yeah. Oh, and I even left out. Granted, it's multi-platform, but at least it's on Game Pass. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black right now. Play. I've been playing. It's so good. Go play it. Go have fun.
Go have fun. Go on, Despawn.
I was going to say, like, one of the things that I've talked about in this podcast a few times is that promise that Xbox made a while ago about trying to release a game every quarter. Does it now feel like we're in that era? It kind of feels
Again,
like it is to me.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fair
it's-
to say they have to prove it, but they delivered in Q4 with those 3 games we just talked about. Q1, we've already got Ninja Gaiden 2 Black on Game Pass, and then Avowed is, for the time being, an exclusive, and that's dropping in, what, 2 weeks? Something
2
like
weeks,
that.
yeah.
So
Yep.
there's Q1, check. Q2, okay, if you don't want to count Doom because it's multi-platform, I guess you could not count Doom if you really... I mean, it's Game Pass, so... Why not?
If it's on Game Pass, right? We just have to carry at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah, for sure.
that's the world we've entered now, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, there's nothing you can really do. Like Xbox games are multi-platform, and yeah, we'll talk about Forza, I guess.
South of
in a
Midnight
bit.
and Claire Obscure in Q2 as well. And then
Yeah,
Q3, TBD, but my money's on Outer Worlds 2, since they did announce that for 25, and I just don't see them dropping that in Q4 because Fable is going to be Q4. I would,
of course.
I would bet, I would bet lunch that's Q4 unless GTA 5 comes out in Q4 and then they were to smartly just hang on to Fable for a while, which they should do. But I don't think GTA 6 is coming out this year, but I don't know anything. I'm going based on the fact that 4 got a release date and got delayed, GTA 5 got a release date and got delayed, and 6 is literally the entire company of Rockstar and Take-Two and the shareholders they answer to is riding on the success of GTA 6. So they're not they can't ship like a rushed, buggy, thing. It's got to be as polished as it can be. So I have every historical reason to believe that GTA 6 will be delayed out of 2025. Anyway, go ahead.
Go on, Matt. Look,
it was just really interesting because I was going to pull you up on that and say, do you really think that Fable is more likely to hit this year than GTA? But you answered it right there. And I don't know, man. Like, do you think then that they're waiting for GTA to make their decision?
Everybody is.
But they're ready to go with Fable this fall? I don't know. I think that's optimistic for some reason, I feel.
I mean, yeah, we're still a ways out, and we haven't actually seen real gameplay, like uncut, actual, proper gameplay. So yeah, could it bump? Even taking GTA out of the equation entirely, might it miss this year? Sure. I mean, that's what big budget AAA games do now. Is they need more time, and that's okay. But for now, okay, I'll take them at face value, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think I'm so scared for Fable just because, Playground are a great studio, but it's so out of their wheelhouse to tackle something like Fable, and like you say, we haven't seen any like real gameplay or from it or whatever. I'm dying to see more. I'd love for it to be good, and I'm praying that it's good. But
well, you guys could speak to this better than anybody. I mean, there's probably not a better studio to handle it in terms of they clearly have. I mean, I think I've said this on Unlocked, but I would argue that they are probably, based on their track record, the single most, like if we were to do a fantasy draft of most raw talented Xbox game developers, I think they're my number one pick. It's no disrespect to id Software or Bethesda Game Studios, but like there have been 5 Forza Horizon games, and not only like the first one was an 8 or a 9, and then from 2 onwards they've been 9s or 10s. They're masterpiece games, and they've built up a second team for Fable, so separate from the Forza team, and you're right, that we don't know if they can successfully make an action RPG / adventure game, but I have every reason to believe that they will, and they'll at least nail the Britishness of it, the British charm. Like they're up there in Royal Leamington Spa. They know how that piece of it works, and yeah, I have no reason to doubt them whatsoever.
I think the thing we always say on the pod, right, is we think, well, me and Chris spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, right, which was like world building they think they're going to get. Map design, we're still wondering, can they build a world and a map and how you traverse that? But the combat's the thing that I think scares all of us, right? We've not seen them do combat, but I do agree with you. Like the Britishness, they're gonna now. I think the trailers have already kind of shown that. If I'm being honest, of like, okay, they've got that in the bag.
I think like worst case with them with that game is it ends up being like an 8, a mid 8. Which isn't bad for like their first time going away from like a racing game genre as well, when you put it into perspective of what that game is for the studio as well. So I think even like in what people might view as a failure for that game, which would be like, because people are a little bit extra with what they call failures nowadays, that would still be a success for that game and that studio, in my opinion. Like no matter where that game ends up in that regard.
We say it all the time, right? Swimming in 7s. 7's not a bad thing. It's just everyone all of a sudden seems to think that 7 isn't good enough because everyone's expecting 10s and 9s.
Well, in fairness, like Sony first party, Sony PlayStation Studios has done an amazing job. They have set the bar, and Nintendo too, for that matter. They've set the bar for what to expect from your first party output. And you're right that 7 really isn't good enough if you're trying to break through that noise and get people onto your platform now, or at least get them to come over and have so much cool stuff that you want to get Game Pass versus just waiting however long for it to come out on PlayStation or Nintendo. But yeah, 7's definitely not good enough. 7 would be a big disappointment for Fable if it's only a 7. If it's only good, that would be disappointing. But at least, again, these last few, the games, the 3-game win streak they're riding right now of partnering with GSC Game World for Stalker 2, and Flight Sim 24 is in-house, and Indiana Jones is in-house. Indiana Jones is my game of the year. I don't know how can you possibly say, Fixer, that doesn't interest you? It's so good. You just have to sit down and play it. It's on Game Pass. Just
5
go.
hours. I played 5 hours. I did not like the fact I had to run around with a map for most of that 5 hours, I have to say. But look, I know the audience has flamed us, by the way, because none of us really loved Indiana Jones. The audience in that we got a Discord that people were in, and it's literally just like, talk about Indiana Jones, talk about Indiana Jones. And we did. They're like, is that it? That's all you've got to say on it? We're like, we don't like it. Like, it's just, I think it's just one of those games. And Ryan, let's admit, you're a little bit older than me, a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it's a generational thing. Like, Indiana Jones is just not, I don't have that nostalgia for Indiana Jones. And Despawn meant to have the nostalgia for it, and even he don't care.
I'm 100% that guy. I was raised on Indiana Jones, but for some reason that game just did not click with me. It is beautiful, and there's moment-to-moment story beats are fantastic, but just the gameplay, as Fix says, I did feel like I was kind of like handheld around a little bit too much, and I just didn't feel that raw like exploration that I wanted from an indie game, which is a shame.
Well, you people are clearly not my people. I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna go. See you guys. Just kidding.
Won't be the first time. Won't be the first time.
You're allowed to not love a game as much as I do, or vice versa. That's the beauty of video games. They're not every game is for every person. It's okay.
Our game of the year on the podcast was Like a Dragon. Yes. So there you go. That gives you a little bit of. Matt, don't ask Matt. Matt didn't play enough games to even have a conversation on it this time. We
all know Bellatrix should have won.
Oh, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. We're not doing this. Let me bring some viewer questions, though. We got a couple, all right? So we got one from Top Lift 91. It says, Ryan, how do you feel about Xbox's multi-platform strategy and how it has changed? Has it changed how you feel about Xbox as a platform? And would you ever consider leaving the ecosystem altogether?
Well, I think we touched on this a little earlier, but yeah, I am just, maybe if I were younger and more sort of focused on, I don't know, it doesn't bother me. I don't begrudge anybody who is bothered by it. I'm not like judging anyone else. Yeah, if you've been an Xbox gamer for a long time and you've invested like literal thousands of dollars or pounds in the platform, and you don't want to see those games that you invested in the platform for available elsewhere, I can understand that. For me, I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel bothered by it, and so I still like, for me, I guess, and I would say, yeah, I would. I guess if it got to a point where just everything was day and date, then I suppose I could consider getting rid of my Xbox. But really, I, number one, prefer the Xbox controller, and that's especially I'm a first-person shooter guy, and I don't care for the DualSense mainly, or any PlayStation controller for shooters, because I don't like the inline thumbsticks. I definitely have always preferred the Xbox controller. And I have a ton of friends on Xbox Live, and I love quick resume. Like, I do like the Xbox hardware features and ecosystem. So it's like, I don't have any problem with the PS5, but I don't think I would leave. And I do think like now that they're actually feeding Game Pass with a steady diet of good stuff, like, yeah, I'm gonna keep subbing to Game Pass Ultimate because they're starting to make it really worth it now. Whereas for a while I wouldn't blame anybody for just only going a month here, a month there when a few games might come out or have built up over a while. But yeah, I'm not bothered by the multi-platform thing, but I can understand if you are. But I still don't think I'm leaving the ecosystem. I doubt it. I think that's pretty unlikely for me.
You're not a PC guy either, right? Like you don't play games ever on PC.
No, I do. I am.
Okay.
There are certain things like I'll tell you this. I mean, I reviewed Doom Eternal for IGN, and I refused to play it on a console. Like I'm not. No way. Doom, I need to have a mouse and keyboard for, and that's just maybe that's more just my history with Doom. That it's always been a PC thing for me, but it's also like it's a pretty fast game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm not interested in playing it with a gamepad. And it'll be the same thing with the Dark Ages. I will not be playing that game on a console. That's going to be PC all the way. But I definitely love PC games. I mean, stuff like Return to Monkey Island was one of the greatest things to ever drop into my life game-wise a couple years ago. And I do love PC gaming, but I'm on my PC all day for work, which that's not a complaint.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to do what I do and have a job, especially where I get to do it from home. That this is not a complaint. But when it comes to then my personal gaming time, I just kind of want to physically not be here anymore, and I'd rather just go over to the couch over there. So yeah, I do. I'm definitely all in. In fact, I'm going to probably do a new rig with these tariffs looming and the 50 series out now.
Sold out already in the UK. Sold out already. Go on.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, who knows if, but yeah, I'm definitely very pro PC, but I just like to be on the Xbox for comfort most of the time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this kind of leads into a question I wanted to ask you, because obviously you are obviously a major component of the using the Xbox ecosystem. How do you feel about have you used the Steam Deck or anything like that before? And how do you feel about Xbox possibly bringing that to the ecosystem in the future?
I bought a Steam Deck as soon as I could, which I wasn't in the first allotment. I forget when I was finally able to buy mine. And the honest answer is I ended up actually selling it to a friend who was just road tripping around the country and needed entertainment, because I found that the Steam Deck was big and bulky enough, especially in its case, where I would pack for a trip, and it's just like I didn't have any room for this big Steam Deck case.
Yeah.
Nothing against the hardware itself or the experience of using it. It's a great piece of equipment, but I ended up kind of just skipping this, or just selling my Steam Deck. But for I very much welcome an Xbox handheld from Microsoft. Hopefully it's a little bit smaller of a form factor. Hopefully they can do that without shrinking the screen size at all from what Steam Deck's got. But I definitely would, just having full easy Xbox integration versus the Steam Deck where you can hack it. I know the ROG Ally, it's easier, and the Lenovo, it's easier to tap into Game Pass. But I will be very, very interested in Microsoft's solution for that. Just play anywhere, cross save. I think I will honestly play more Xbox games and just spend more time playing with a proper Microsoft Xbox gaming handheld gaming PC, because if I'm, I don't know, at some appointment or something or whatever, waiting for something, I would break that out. Whereas now I'm not one to just dial up the cloud thing on the phone. That doesn't super appeal to me. But if it's If it's a proper local in my hands handheld that
Yeah.
directly interfaces with my Xbox library, count me in.
Oh, guys, I'm so happy. So happy you mentioned the tag. Go on, D-Small, finish your thought, please.
No,
We'll
I
get
was
to
just
it,
going
we'll
to
get
say,
to
because
it.
I recently picked up a Steam Deck, and one of my issues has been using Game Pass on it. So I did the whole hacking to get cloud gaming worked on it, and it just doesn't feel quite right. It is jumping through a couple of like hoops to get it to work, and having to resize everything and remap everything. And like you say, I think it would be better to have that like native experience. And yeah, having it like where Steam games you can play it directly, like you don't have that option with Xbox at the moment. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that as being a native experience in the future. But yeah, cloud, it's got its uses, but not right now. It's not there yet for me.
Matt, you got anything to say?
Matt?
You got anything to say, Matt?
They're all
Matt?
laughing, Ryan, because I'm a big fan of the cloud, and I think it's the way everything's going to end up going, and I think we'll be there a lot sooner than everybody else seems to. But look, even our small niche audience, there are people, or at least one person who's been in touch, who listens to this podcast and doesn't own an Xbox and only plays through the cloud. And I think that's like a real showing for the way that Xbox is going. Like, how have they found us, and why do they listen every week? If they don't own an Xbox, they only play through the cloud. I think that's like the crack in the dam. Like, I think we'll be there a lot quicker than we think.
I think that's just you.
And
Matt.
I'm very
I think
much
it's
already
you.
there.
Yep, it's you, Matt.
Yeah, it's you. It's just you messaging
We're not giving up our
yourself.
plastic toys. We're not giving
Embraced.
them up. You are.
I like my shiny
No,
face.
You were
Ryan.
all the people who were sending DVDs back and forth for Netflix and Love Film and all that crap. All right, I'm out here watching my Blu-ray Netflix.
No, you're
streaming.
not, and that's the point. Ryan, he will literally pick to play a video game that is so highly graphical, like absolutely love it, and he'll go, "Yeah, never guess what, boys was playing this on cloud," and we're just sat there like, "You didn't even get to." He played Stalker 2 on cloud.
All right, that was a mistake. I'll
Sit
admit
down.
that.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, the black levels, that game's a dark game, and yeah, it made it look a bit murky and rubbish. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Matt, you got
I
any
had the
questions for
option.
him?
I had one, yeah, sure. So it's kind of like along what we were talking about. Obviously, the news just hit before we started that Forza is going to PlayStation, and we were kind of talking about that. I was curious if you'd thought about, or if you think it's likely that this year we see a Master Chief Collection or Halo Infinite make the jump, and how you feel about that. Because I agree with you and everything you said about multiplat, but there is something weird about Master Chief making his way over to another console that isn't the same with the other games,
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Yeah, there's that, I guess, that triumvirate, right, of Halo, Gears, Forza, and if a Forza's going over, which is, I mean, it's actually not technically, well, it's sort of the current Forza game. It's the current Horizon game.
Yeah.
There's a newer Motorsport, of course, that we all know. But yeah, the rumors are what they are, and they were pretty strong. And so, yeah, I mean, Master Chief Collection seems to be happening, and there's absolutely, it's not Infinite's gonna. This isn't me reporting this, by the way. Nobody aggregate this.
No.
Just reading
Not
the
from
room,
this podcast, please.
Yeah. So I think Forza Horizon 5 makes a ton of sense to move over and put on PlayStation because it's amazing. It's a 10 out of 10 game. It won IGN's Game of the Year in 2021. It's gotten a ton of content updates. It's still, like, if you jump in it now, it feels amazing. It's just still a fantastic. It doesn't, it's like, oh, this is a 3-year-old. This is feeling kind of old. Like, no, it's awesome. And it's such an all ages, it's the way I've always described that game is it's not a racing game to me. It's a driving game. And there's a difference in that if you just like cars, Horizon's a great game for you.
Mm-hmm.
Motorsport, maybe not. If you just like cars, like you have to want to get into the racing side and a little bit more serious about the racing and the simulation aspect for Motorsport. But Horizon is just so approachable. It's so it can be, you can do races and stuff, but it's also super casual if you want it. It's very social with your friends. So, yeah, like, why wouldn't, like, that's going to make a ton of sense on PS5 where there's this massive installed base that's never played it. Guess what? They're gonna love it because it's a game of the year winning game, and hopefully we'll even get to the point. I actually, and correct me if because I actually didn't have a chance to read the blog post. I just saw the headline before we jumped on here. If hopefully they're gonna do crossplay where just everybody's in the world together, and it'll just meaning that you can, if you've got friends on PS5 that don't have an Xbox or PC, that you'll be able to play Forza Horizon 5 with them. So it makes a ton of sense. And then as for Infinite, well, Infinite's also 3 years old now, just like Horizon 5 is. It seems like that would probably happen after Master Chief Collection, just because it's Halo 6. So
Yeah.
not that you can't jump into Infinite cold, but I don't really recommend it from a story perspective anyway. So but yeah, Infinite seems inevitable as well. And then it's just a question of, to complete the triumvirate. I know I'm talking for a long time here, but
No, you're fine. That's why you're here.
Fable's probably going to come over too. Probably not day and date. That one's most likely going to hang around as an exclusive for a little while. But assuming it's good and it's a success, then yeah, why Microsoft's probably going to want to try and sell it to all the, I don't know, what is it? What are we up to now? 50 something million PS5 users. So yeah, it's going to happen. It's like, it's all happening. It's all going to happen now. And as I've been saying on Unlocked, and not that this is some grand original thought, you guys may very well have talked about it as well, but to me, all of these multi-platform moves are the reason that the next Gears of War game isn't Gears 6.
Yeah.
They're not. They left us on a cliffhanger in Gears 5, and the only reason that they would abandon that, well, there'd be two reasons, both of which can be true, or either one can be true. Either it didn't sell well, and they're just like, well, we're not going to sell more with 6 if we keep down this road. But the reason I believe that Gears of War E-Day is the next game is that it's a prequel. It's because it's going to be a PlayStation game as well. It's going to come out on everything, and you can onboard people who are new to Gears with a prequel, of course, duh. So, and that's why I also believe that whatever the next big Halo game from Halo Studios now, it's not going to be Halo Infinite 2 / Halo 7. It's either going to be a reboot of the whole damn thing, or it's going to be because we know it's Unreal Engine 5, it's going to be a remake of Halo Combat Evolved. Either way, I think they are starting over. Mark my words, mark me down for however much money we want to bet here. It is not going to be Halo 7. It's not going to continue the story for the same reason. It's all going multi-platform. It's just a question of whether it's day and date or whether it's later. That's it.
I think it's probably quite likely to be Halo the TV show, the video game, and it's just going to be
Of course.
You universally love that.
On the back of the hugely successful and popular Halo TV series on Paramount Plus.
I want to see Chief's face in the game. That's what I want.
Everyone definitely remembers that show for his face, not other parts. A couple of notes from the community out there. Apparently, Forza, that is confirmed it is going to be crossplay.
As expected, good.
Yep. And the second note was that it thinks it's E-Day because everybody just misses Dom, which again I can get behind.
That's also true.
I mean,
all of these things can be true at the same time.
It's like, Gears. Go on, sorry, I'm just love thinking about Gears. My bad.
I do too. It's like one of my childhood memories of playing Gears with my housemate at the time, like just going through that entire campaign. So one of the questions I was going to ask is, so right now it feels like everything is like it's open doors day and day, everything's coming. But it's still, to me personally, it very much feels like they are still being very trepidatious about it. So the initial wave was very much like, here's some old games that have done well in that, but they're kind of past their time now. They're not getting the content updates that they were anymore. Forza Horizon 5 feels kind of that similar vein. Like I feel like I think it's coming to the end of its content life cycle. I think they've announced there's going to be one more update with this release. And then obviously they're kind of testing the waters with Indiana Jones coming in spring. Do you feel like they are still taking like tentative steps, or do you just feel like we're just kind of waiting for the next big release to be that day and date and the floodgates fully opening?
It's a good question. I mean, they're probably. I mean, no first party platform maker has ever tried this before.
No.
Right? Like Sega gave up hardware entirely and then went third party. So I'm sure Microsoft still they might not even Phil might not even necessarily have a definitive answer to that. Like in terms of they might still be feeling it out and just kind of figuring out like, okay, do we just go ahead and drop everything multi-platform day one, but it's on Game Pass on our platform, or for these bigger things like. I guess to more directly answer your question with hopefully not talking forever this time, the fact
You're
that
good.
like I think we can agree Avowed is in the next tier down
Yes.
of first party games. It's not in that Halo, Gears, Forza top tier, and well, I guess you'd have to put like Elder Scrolls up there, Fallout up there too, but Avowed's in the next group down.
Yeah.
And that's exclusive for now, right? So
But now
it does seem like that they're still gonna have some sort of exclusivity on some things for some period of time. Like, Doom was never exclusive, so they'd be, and they got, not that you should necessarily take one example from 10 years ago as gospel, but they got killed pretty hard by taking a multi-platform game and making it exclusive 10 years ago with Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I voted for Game of the Year that year. I thought it was.
Oh,
That's my favorite one. Is the second one is Rise.
Yep.
It's just that game was phenomenal. But and to the other side of the coin, Sony and Capcom kind of got burned by making Street Fighter.
Yep.
Wait,
Crash. Which one was it? You're a fighting game guy.
Yeah.
Five.
Which one was
five.
it? 4 or 5?
It was 5 that was exclusive.
5.
It's still exclusive. I think it's still
PlayStation
not on
like,
Xbox.
That didn't really do anybody any favors, just like Tomb Raider. So yeah, like Doom, it does make sense to not take it away from the PlayStation owners who'd already had it, and just keep that as a day and date thing. So which probably suggests that they'll do that with Fallout and Elder Scrolls too. Like Starfield was a new thing. There was no expectation that PlayStation was going to get it. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think Microsoft's probably still figuring it all out themselves.
Makes sense.
I talked
Fresh.
too long.
No, Ryan, please.
such
This
thing.
is why you're here. This is your Q&A session. Don't
It
worry.
stops Matt talking. It's fine.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, and he's moving
You
about
got to
5
start
frames per
playing
second.
me off with like the Oscars music to start playing music. As
You
I
mean
go
the
on.
Game Awards music?
Just
We'll do the
please-
Game Awards
just-
music instead.
yeah.
We got you.
Wrap
Please
it
wrap
up.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So you talked earlier about it, that you've been doing the Xbox podcast for 19 years at this point. I was curious, for somebody who's been in this long, covering Xbox, what was probably your like favorite moment to actually be covering Xbox and doing a podcast about it?
Wow. I mean, like one moment would be tough. I mean, the reveal of the 360 pops to mind just as like, because I joined Official Xbox Magazine 1 year in. I joined in the fall of 2002. So the Xbox had been out for 11 months at that point. So I wasn't around for the beginning in terms of covering it as a media person. But the fact that they were going early, they were going to beat Sony to the punch, and they had this new the unveiling of the 360, which I went to. I was there for the whatever the name of the show was, hosted by Elijah Wood, with where they filmed the thing and unveiled it. So yeah, that was really cool. Although I had all that stuff ahead of time anyway, but it was still a neat moment to be a part of. So I guess, yeah, at the risk of droning on for too long again, that was the
Please bear with us.
Oh wait, Despawn's here. Despawn, you alive?
Barely. 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's all good. We're gonna carry on talking. I've got the backup anyway. We're good.
Yeah, that's fine. They
My
can hear you.
question, Ryan, is content. Obviously, I did a poor job of telling everyone knows who you are if they listen to this, and so I don't need to do the whole this is Ryan from IGN. But content has changed dramatically from even when I started 10 years ago. It feels probably a little bit less than that, maybe 8-9 years ago, whatever. How has content changed, to get off of Xbox for a little bit? How has content changed inside of IGN? Because we very much play in the space of like TikTok and obviously X now and Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah. And we're very as a group, right? We don't do the whole we're gonna say mean things about people or things just for the sake of clicks. Have you seen the industry change as a whole? In that regard, again, it's a little bit different because we're a content creation side of things and you're more press. But have you seen that seep in at all at IGN or just in coverage at all?
I would say, to kind of address the first part of your question, that we think of social now as like its own content platform, whereas it used to be, and we still use it this way also. Yeah. But it used to be really nothing but, and I don't mean to say that as like degrade it, but because our social team's amazing and they make awesome social content. But it used to basically just be a megaphone to yell out to people about this, to get them to come to the website. And now, like, you have to go where people are, and they're not necessarily gonna click into IGN.com. So our social team's gotten really good. Like, they do adapt our content, but they also will kind of do their own thing on social and just make their own stuff and make, their own videos, their own content that's built for the social audience. That's stuff we don't put on IGN because it wouldn't fit there. So I think that's probably the biggest one that comes to mind is social evolving into its own whole content arm rather than just an amplifier for IGN.
Oh yeah.
And in terms of, the rest of the...
Not to bring the mood down. I don't mean to try and bring the mood down. It's just a shift that I've seen, which is like, it feels like, especially in the last couple of years, it feels like negativity is so loud when it comes to video games, and it upsets me in a way. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's like I definitely spend a lot less time on social now than I used to, for that reason. But the problem is it's not only on social. I would say that the specifically the YouTube algorithm seems to really. And this is not a gaming specific issue. This is like a cultural wide, like politics, sports,
absolutely,
like entertainment, video games, you name it. Like, it's affected everything. Is the algorithm seems to, and I know this is going to sound like me just like blaming something else, rather than, but like, IGN is, we could talk about what IGN has done well and not well, but I do think, to your point, the YouTube algorithm seems to really reward that negativity, and so people just make videos that tap into that, that like base human urge to respond to negativity. And I think that has, I think everything, like all of culture has suffered for that. And I don't know, there may be some of your audience is just rolling their eyes at me right now, and that's fine. But yeah, there's, well, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I definitely think that there are that negativity is a big problem across pop culture and across online everything.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
definitely affected video games and the video game community and discourse around video games as well in a really unfortunate way. I mean,
Yeah.
just to kind of bookend it, I'll say that I would say lucky to live through, when I spent the first 10 years of my career at Official Xbox Magazine, the first 5-ish of that, like the first half of that, we didn't even have a website. So like we would get emails from our readers, pardon me, and actual still letters back in the, that's how old I am. And there were message boards, like message boards were a thing, but that was kind of the extent of it. And so like we would make our magazine and review our games, and then somebody would, whatever the first person to get the issue in the mail would type up all the scores and all the reviews and what score they got for the forum thread, and people would discuss. But it just, it was definitely a more innocent time in that there wasn't this just like over all encompassing aura and algorithm of negativity that's like fueling everything like a hate tornado, just like spinning its way through the gaming community.
I think it's saying you mentioned real quick this one, and then I'll pass to you. I think you mentioned it's the algorithm, right? I think sometimes I forget about the algorithm because it's just I log on to YouTube and pop up video here. And again, I've done a pretty good job now of not interested enough stuff that I kind of avoid a lot of it. There's certain platforms that you can't really avoid it. But yeah, no, you're all right. The algorithm feeds what you watch, and then it sends that back at you. So you just got to do a better job of letting it know that you're not interested in it. Sorry, Despawn, please.
No, I'm going to say, I agree. I think it regurgitates what you put into it very much. Yeah. I think it's an ease of access thing as well. Like, it's so easy. Like you mentioned before, Ryan, is like people had to write a letter or jump on a message board and to be able to get in touch with you. Nowadays, it's like you just fire off a tweet, tag you, and thousands of people will see it. I think the smart thing is to obviously block and avoid it, but it's so easy just to, because it is that ease of access, it's so easy just to respond, and it just it kind of builds up a cycle. And yeah, it is. I think to kind of put a bit of a fun spin on this is it's times like these where it's like it's really important to like do things like this where we celebrate the things that we enjoy and we love. Like we talk about Xbox because we love it, and it's like make the time to kind of connect with those kind of voices that do that kind of stuff more, and amplify that, and just like make sure that we're kind of like, putting a bit more fun into the world, because looking out there, it's not that fun at the moment.
I think with any platform, the most important thing you can do as like a viewer or somebody who's like engaging with the content there is engage with the content that you like, the more positive stuff, and just completely ignore the negative stuff. You might want to go in there and like leave a comment or whatever. The algorithm just sees that as you engaging with the content. It doesn't see that as like a negative or whatever the case is. It doesn't really care about that aspect. It just wants to keep you on the website more. So be on the website as much as you want to be. Just interact with the stuff you enjoy more than the stuff you dislike.
So play more basketball games, play less FIFA. Got it. I'm on it, Crush. I'm on it. Can't be playing EA Sport FC anymore. It does my head in. All right, let's transition. We talked about a lot of the news this week already, to be honest with you boys. So we're probably gonna skip most of that. We do a little game around here, Ryan. You wanna play our little game? We got a little game that we do on this podcast.
I'm up for it.
And I believe it's Matt's turn.
It is my turn. I'm just trying to get to the script, otherwise I don't know it. Oh no.
It's Guy. You can tell he's here once a week, Ryan, can't you?
But once a month.
I mean, he's supposed to be here once a week.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Yeah.
I mean, sorry, you're right. He's here once every 3 weeks. You're right. My bad.
Did somebody delete it out of the thing?
It's literally down there. Just scroll down. It's on the guess the game part. Ryan, I swear I'm a professional host. I swear I am. I promise.
No attention to the man behind the curtain.
Wait, I'm the man behind the curtain.
Oh yeah, definitely don't pay no attention.
No.
Hello, everybody. This is Guess That Game. We're back for another week. I have picked a game, and everybody in the call will ask me yes or no questions. I can only answer yes or no. and they will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to guess the game that I am thinking of.
Oh, so it's the Game Scoop 20 questions, but with a timer on it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you'll find that this is an entirely original idea.
So
Ryan.
original. You think we stole from you, Ryan? That's crazy. I don't listen to you every week. That's wild.
crazy.
I don't
That's
believe you
crazy.
said
Damon
that. That's-
Hatfield might be calling his lawyer right now. Is
Hey,
all
look.
I'm saying. But,
You better tell everyone on TikTok then, because they're all stealing from him. I've got to be honest with you.
But it's
Matt.
is it an Xbox? Like this is. I'm not starting the game.
No,
Is
no,
Is
yeah.
the game all Xbox games, or is it anything?
It has to
It
have
has-
been on Xbox.
Has
So it doesn't have to
been
be like
on
an
it.
Xbox exclusive or something like that. It has to have been on the
It has to
platform.
have been on Xbox.
Okay, fair enough.
And at the end, if you all agree that I've done a terrible job of picking the game, then I don't get a point. But
Yes.
if I fool you all, I do get a point. Anyway,
That's
don't worry
correct.
about it, Ryan.
All right, so just
We're gonna go.
Who's the order?
does
Matt,
the-
order.
Does the clock start when when we ask the first question, or
Yeah.
It does
Count it down.
indeed. And the order will go Crash, Fixer, Ryan, Despawn.
Okay.
Crash, Fixer, Ryan, Despawn.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
ready?
Crash, first question. Go for it when you're ready.
Did it launch on 360?
It did launch on 360.
Isn't it exclusive?
No.
Is it a first-person shooter?
Yes.
Is it from one of the big publishers?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it EA?
No.
Ubisoft.
No.
Let's see here. Activision?
Nope.
Ooh. Bungie?
No.
Does it have RPG mechanics in it at all?
Yes.
Male protagonist?
Yes.
Oh man. Did it come out in the first half of the Xbox 360's life cycle?
I'll answer that at the end because I'll need to look it up.
Ah, this guy.
Is it a futuristic shooter?
Yeah.
Multiplayer?
No.
Is there any multiplayer at all?
No.
Is it Bulletstorm?
It is not Bulletstorm.
I respect it.
I respect it. Is it on PC?
It is on PC. I'll give you all one more question because we're not there.
Alright, cool,
You
yeah.
asked Ryan, the one I couldn't answer was, did it come out in the first half of the generation of the 360? Is that correct?
Yes.
When did the generation of the 360 end?
Oh, no, this
This
guy.
guy. We're professional.
Well, 2013. It was 2005 to 2013. So
Yeah.
8 years.
So no is the answer to your question. It came out in the second half of the
Okay,
360
okay.
generation.
Is it a franchise? There's multiple games in the franchise of whatever it is.
Yes.
Have I played this game?
I would assume yes.
Ryan, that's helped me a lot. I know you're laughing, but I promise you that's helped me a lot.
It does help, yeah.
And if you haven't, shame on you.
Okay.
Oh. Boy.
Which suggests to me it's a really well-loved game.
That's I'm getting.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
Well, it just has to be that Matt says shame on you. It's not that it's
Yeah.
a well-loved game.
That's
Let's
a good
not
point.
get ahead
Matt
of
likes it,
ourselves
yeah.
here.
I think the
Um,
audience will
good
say shame on you as well.
Go on, Despawn.
Well, Ryan's got a question as well, but you can
Oh,
go in
sorry,
any
yeah,
order.
yeah.
I'm not fussed.
Is it BioShock Infinite?
It is BioShock Infinite.
I
Unbelievable.
glanced back to my
So-
360 shelf. Like most of it is in my attic, but I've got like the choice stuff is still accessible in case I ever want to just grab the disc and throw it in. And I looked over and I saw, well, okay, there's BioShock and Infinite next to each other. And it's like, well, it's not the first one because you said it was in the second half. I reviewed BioShock Infinite for IGN. So
Which brings us on to the bonus trivia question.
Okay, here we go.
BioShock Infinite was reviewed on IGN.com by
Oh,
one
no.
Ryan McCaffrey. What score did he give it, Ryan?
Wait, he's gonna
I'll let you
know.
go last. I'll let you go last, Ryan. Otherwise, you're going to ruin it for everybody else.
Ryan,
I'll-
wait, was this back when you was on the 10-point scale or?
No.
Oh, okay.
So we'll say closest wins because it's
There's also a trick to this question as well.
Don't give us. Don't.
I think I know what the trick is.
Give me a second.
We'll get to it. We'll see if any of them get even close because I'm not sure they will.
So if it wasn't
Ryan,
on a 10-point scale,
Yeah,
so it'd
go
be
on,
the
Crash.
100-point scale then, yeah.
100 points.
Okay.
Correct.
Go on, Crash. I've
So
got
it's
a
like
number.
so it's like a point, right? So it's like in my head, I'm like 8.7.
You can lock in 8.7 if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where my head goes.
Okay, Crash. We'll say closest wins.
Bioshock Infinite.
Excluding
100.
Ryan. You're going to give it 100?
I'm going to say 100.
No
Oh, because you're
way,
playing the game.
Crazy.
I see you.
Okay.
I hate you.
No, I'm
guys.
not playing the game. I'm pretty sure it was a relatively high review score
Yeah.
because that game reviewed pretty well from what I remember.
I thought it was up and down.
I don't remember IGN's
Yeah.
review.
You don't remember Ryan McCaffrey's review? He's sitting right there, Craig. Come on.
I definitely
This
remember
was
it. I'm not looking at it right now.
Years ago.
Respawn?
I'm gonna give it. Well, I'm not gonna give it. Like, I'm gonna say. See, my initial thought was 87 as well. I'm gonna go 92.
9.2. Ryan, can you remember what you scored it off the top of your head?
I believe the PC version got 0.1 higher, which is something I would never do now unless there was some crazy, unless it was like an Aliens Colonial Marine situation where the console version was just horrifically worse, which it wasn't. But I believe the PC version I gave a 9.4 and the console version a 9.3, if I remember correctly.
Ooh.
I had it PC version 9.5, console 9.4. But now
All right,
I'm scared that I got it wrong. But
No, I'm
that's what I
sure
think
you
it was.
have it right. I'm going purely off of memory, which is not a good idea at my age.
So who won that?
Who was closest? Despawn was closest. He said
I can't
9.2.
believe you guys said 8.7, a couple of you. That's for Bioshock Infinite?
Yeah. That
One
game
of the
reviewed so
masterpiece
well.
games of that generation?
Ryan, do you want to hear a funny story?
I do.
Don't like that game either. Yeah, I said it.
I thought you were going to say you'd never played it and that I'd answered the question wrong then and that's the whole reason you got it wrong.
No.
Indiana Jones and Bioshock Infinite Fixer, I'm not sure we can be friends anymore, man. I don't know if this is going to work out.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm a great commentator on video games, as you've learned. I'm very good at my job. I'm pretty good at what I do. But I play a lot of survival horror games. That's why I said to you, anytime Resident Evil comes out, I'm the guy.
the guy.
I'm the guy. And then I do a lot of GTA roleplay right now, so it's kind of hard. I'm in my RPG bag as well. Just saying. All right, cool. Should we do a blind ranking? We do this thing called blind ranking, Ryan. The audience put some blind rankings for us. And what we do is they put in our Discord. I'm going to say a game, and you guys have to blind rank it 1 through 5.
And then there will be something that ties all 5 games together that we have to try and do.
Guess the title.
This is a cooperative game.
Yeah, you're all working
We're all
together
on a
on this
team.
one.
Yeah.
All right, this one's in from Big Willie P once again. Shout out Big Willie P, a big provider for blind rankings. All right, boys, you ready?
Let's do it.
Very much
Your
so.
first game will be The Walking Dead Season 1.
Oh my god.
That is a crazy one. That is crazy.
That's got to be high up any list it's on, right?
All right, but what if the list is like graphical excellence?
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
You might know
Yeah,
that till
that
the
engine-
end. Man. You might know that till the
I'm
end.
gonna say
How
3.
it ran at launch.
Wait, what'd you say, Chris?
I'm gonna say 3.
See,
just gonna
Ryan, this
say
is where this podcast goes off the rails. He's an idiot. Please agree with me. He's an idiot.
I would never insult someone in their own home.
You're
fine.
free
We
to
do.
tell me
Yeah.
you feel like I deserve it.
Yeah.
No, we're not playing this game. It's number 2, Ryan. Don't.
two.
No,
It's
it's
a two.
number 2.
This if it's like emotional impact, if it's quality of story, if it's like in-game actor performance, I would go with 2 here. I feel like this is gonna rank high on whatever. I could get burned here, but I want to say 2.
That generally
we're
happens
all
to us a
agreed.
lot. Yeah.
It's 2.
Yeah. It's
We're
2.
agreed.
Okay, Chris is crazy. I'm glad we all agree Chris is crazy.
Oh, we all knew
We
that.
can
It's fine.
defend him as much
I didn't
as we
think
want.
let me just say this. I didn't think the 3 would go by. I just had to put my piece out there, okay?
Yeah. I get it. I respect
I'm
it.
gonna get crucified again. All right, Portal 2.
Ooh.
Huh.
Oh no.
3.
No,
Really?
we can't put it below
I said
Walking
it.
Dead, can we?
I said it.
No.
3.
1.
Why?
It's
Why,
got to
Chris?
go 1.
It's got to.
Nope.
1. It's
No.
it's one of the greatest games of all
Yeah,
time.
no, absolutely. It's one. Yeah, it's one.
It's a
Unless-
1.
It's not going
You want
below
to
it.
guess, Ryan? You want to make a guess real quick?
I was gonna.
Of
like-
what the
Don't
theme
like Paul
is.
Weaver. Don't like Paul Weaver.
Wow.
You would think
Alright.
at this point I don't like video games. I swear I do, everybody listening. For the first
do you
time we've
not
only
like
come in to
Paul?
listen, I swear I play a lot of video games. I swear I'm a video game lover. I swear. It's not that I don't like Paul. I'm just very bad at puzzles. And we all know how dumb I am. What's my motto, Crash?
This podcast feels like the mask is coming off of Fixer on his own show on episode 500.
No,
right here.
Ryan.
It
you've
came off
just
400
You've
episodes
never
ago.
listened. Is the difference, okay? You've never listened. That's the difference, all right? They all know I'm a dum-dum around here. I'm a very good dum-dum. I'm an entertainer, all right? I'm an entertainer. No, Paul, I love Paul, but again, I struggle with puzzles. It's co-op as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I never played it co-op.
There's a
which would-
co-op mode. There's
Yeah,
co-op
there's like a
mode.
co-op campaign that's like separate.
Got you. So what, am I out of we going 1?
I was gonna say, unless Metal Gear Solid 3 shows up on this list,
See? Now we're talking
Then-
Despawn, a game
then
that I
Portal-
love.
Portal
That's
2
a
deserves to
big
be number
what
1.
if to put
Yeah,
Portal
I mean,
below.
You say that, but the way that Big Willie P builds these lists every week, I don't know.
Here's
It
what,
could-
here's what I'll say. If that game does come up here, I'm not going to have a problem with that going in the 3rd place because Portal's in the number 1 spot.
That's right.
That's true.
Paul
That's
is
true.
number
I can
1.
give you that. I can give you that. All right.
Yeah, it's got to go.
Next game.
Got to go 1.
Spiritfarer.
Okay.
5?
5.
Yeah, it's a great
I
game.
confess I have not played this one. So
What? Ryan, how dare you come on my podcast and you've never played
Wait.
Spiritfarer?
Fix, have you
What?
played this?
I don't even know what the game is. I'm not going to lie to you.
yeah, I would probably agree with the 5 on this one.
Okay.
I think it's good. It's good. I have played it, so there we go. It's on Netflix. If you've got a Netflix subscription, you can play it yourself.
So it's on Game Pass. Or at least it was.
Well, there we go. Then that's more relevant to our podcast, isn't it? But yes, I think it's a 5. And like, I don't know what list we're building here.
Nor do I. Nor do I.
And it scares me.
I'm starting to get an idea of what it might be. But yeah, I want to wait till these last 2 games drop. But yeah, this is, don't get me wrong, Spiritfarer is a fantastic game, but it's, yeah, when you're talking about like a list with Portal on it, it's nowhere near that.
Yeah, it's a 5.
And Walking Dead as well, yeah, it's a 5.
Oh, you're
agree with
ready
that.
for the next one, boys?
Uh-oh.
The Last of Us.
3
Interesting.
then. Yeah.
3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It has to be 3, but it should be higher. Let's be honest.
It's-
Really, it should be 1.
No,
On this
Portal
list?
2 should be
It's
number
got to go
1.
3. It's got to go 3.
No, see, look, Ryan, I like video games. See, I'm telling you now, I like video games. Last of Us, masterpiece in my opinion. I cried.
Question.
All right.
Is it Last of
Yeah.
Us 1 or 2 on this list?
It says Last of Us 1. Just says Last of
Okay.
Us. Just says Last of Us. I'm assuming it's 1. We're going to assume. So we're going to go 3 on that one. And to end our Brian's ranking with the one and only Ryan McCaffrey, we have got, oh, I hate you!
Oh no, what's he done?
Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a great list. It's not one of our best.
Well,
You know what shouldn't have gone in the number 2 spot? I'm just going to say it. Walking Dead shouldn't have gone in the number 2 spot.
So
Yeah, but
again,
it's a masterpiece, though, Crash.
so the problem
Here's
is
the
with
problem.
these lists.
All these games are masterpieces.
I
They are all
would argue.
masterpieces.
Well, it's all subjective, but The Walking Dead season 1 had I've never cried at a video game, which probably just says more about like I need to be in therapy and deal with
I
some
was gonna say, Ryan, are you
internal
okay?
stuff. But The Walking Dead season 1 emotionally hit me harder than any game I've ever played. I haven't played every game ever, but that is the most emotionally impactful game I have ever played. I remember when I finished it, we were lucky we had it ahead of time because we were covering it, getting ready for review at IGN, and I remember finishing it at like midnight, and I texted Mitch Dyer, who was with IGN at the time, because he was the only other person I knew that had finished it because it wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm staring. My jaw is just hanging down, and I'm staring at the credits, and I don't know what, like, I have to talk to someone. And so he was gracious enough to respond, and we just talked about The Walking Dead. But yeah, I don't think I think we did okay. Like we definitely nailed Spiritfarer at 5.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
So what
And
I
I
was
don't
going to
think you
say,
can argue with Portal 2 at number 1, despite these other awesome games.
yeah,
you definitely can.
Red
You
Dead
definitely
and
can.
Last of Us being that low is a bit of a.
yeah.
I think realistically, of the games we have here, 4 of those could have been in the number 1 spot, and I would have
Yes.
been okay with it.
Absolutely.
It's a very strong list.
Sure.
The thing about these lists, it's not which is the best game. It is always about what the subject of the list is, and that is the big question. Like I
Well, we'll get to
personally,
it.
yeah, go on.
I want to ask one question to Ryan real quick about episodic games while we're on the topic, to be honest with you. How do you feel about, because me and Crash especially, we did a Tell Me Why weekly spoiler cast when that came out with Laura K. Buzz. Shout out to her, amazing content creator. And me and Crash always say that was some of the best content we made. Being able to sit down and play an episode like that and really break it down and talk to each other about, oh, I did this and I did that. How do you feel about episodic games now that are not episodic anymore? Like the game still comes out as a whole and they let you break it up, but I kind of miss when it was like a water cooler moment of like you played it and you had to wait a week for the next episode. Where are you on that?
I don't necessarily, I'm not necessarily sad that it seems to be gone, but I do agree. It was a nice moment in time with that Telltale era, right?
Yeah.
And you're right, because it was definitely like dad friendly video gaming where each episode was usually no more than 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And often like closer to an hour. And so yeah, you could just do the episode, play the episode, and then yes, you go in and talk with your coworkers and friends about it the next day. And oh, what choices did you make? And oh, what about this thing that happened? So yeah, it was a nice moment in time that does, I don't know. I mean, in this age of gaming on all screens, including mobile screens and handheld game screens, and so people are playing in shorter bursts depending on the device they're playing on, then maybe there's room for episodic gaming to come back.
I hope so. I miss it. Wolf Among Us, maybe.
I think like Game Pass as well suits it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. 100% Game Pass suits it. I don't think. Do you, Fixer? How confident are you that the Wolf Among Us 2 is coming out? Because again, I'm not reporting anything. Nobody take this as fact. I just nothing that we have publicly seen or publicly been told suggests to me that game's ever coming out. And that, by the way, makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Because the Wolf Among Us is right at the top of the list of what Telltale accomplished in its original run.
Absolutely. Telltale was one of those type of, again, we joke about Portal and all these games that I don't play. Like Telltale games were like religious games that I played, every single one. That was my speed. Me and my fiance would sit down and, we'd play it. She sits next to me reading notes. Anyone who's watched our stream, we play games. Like she's a teacher, so she's and I'm dyslexic, so she's very good at like emphasizing voices and things of that nature, right? So she sat next to me talking to, like, reading these notes, and I'm listening. I'm like, oh, I'm really taking things in. And yeah, those type of games, yeah, the thing that upsets me the most about Telltale is the final season of The Walking Dead, gameplay-wise, was the best game they made. And yeah, but the Wolf Among Us, no, mate, I'll be honest with you, mate, I'm scared. We haven't seen anything from the new Telltale at all, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, and didn't they have a bunch of layoffs or something? It's been a while since we've heard anything, but put it this way, we haven't heard anything good to come out of that project in a very long time, and I hope it makes it to the finish line. But and again, I say this with sadness, not with any sort of. I have no reason to think that game's ever coming out.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong. I really hope you're wrong. Yeah, I really hope you're wrong. These ones. Do you want to finish your full process? I do apologize.
I can't remember what I was thinking about.
No. Perfect. Do you want? Should we guess the title then? Because
I was going to say we've got to guess the list.
We've got to guess. We got to guess what this is. I'm going to look at it and I'll just see what you guys get. So, okay. So
Ryan, just to warn you.
Yeah, go on, please.
Yeah, Fixer is very particular about how right you get it. It has to be word for word.
look,
Well,
look. If
Are
you
you
get
gonna- are you
3
gonna
words,
bend the
I'll
rules?
give you it. All right.
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
not
wow.
bending the rules. No. Hey,
Ooh.
Ryan's a special guest, but he ain't that special. Let me make that very clear. So I tell you what, Kresh, you go first for this list. Remind us again quickly of all the games. I know you got it written down.
Yeah. Portal 2 was our number 1. Number 2 was Walking Dead Episode 1. Number 3 was Last of Us 1. Number 4 was Red Dead Redemption. And number 5 was Spiritfarer.
What do you think Big Willie P's title is for all of these titles?
Biggest twists in video games.
Okay. Despawn?
Most emotional moments in video games.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like more what Despawn said and do. I think crying's in there. I'm gonna go games that made you cry. Best games
Okay.
that made you cry.
Ryan, can you go off of any of those? What do you think?
Largely agree here. I mean, I don't think there was really a twist in The Walking Dead season 1 that I
don't
recall.
think so.
I think it's.
No.
I'm going to go with the most emotionally impactful games.
Okay, again, don't shout at me. I don't want anyone shouting at me. It
Oh,
wasn't
God,
me,
here
all
we
right?
go.
Best video game endings.
Okay.
His opinion. Personal. And in brackets, it says personal list. So
Okay.
there you go. No bonus point this week, boys. I'm sorry.
All right, fair enough. Fair
No
enough.
bonus point. No bonus point. All right, let's jump into Go on, please.
I was gonna say, points wise, has Matt got any points yet?
Oh, sorry. You want to go for the points? Of course.
Well,
we can do that. We can
No, I
do
don't
that.
have any points. We don't have to go through
We
the
can
list.
do that. So let me land real quick, Decent. Let me land. Points are going look a little like this. We have Matt P Video, who's been on every episode this year. By the way, every single episode with 0 points. We have got guest Ryan McCaffrey on the list now with 1 point.
Yeah,
We've
that
got-
hurts. That really hurts, actually.
This isn't. It's only been what 4 episodes this year, so it's not. 0 for 4 is not like.
Yeah,
there
but
are
Ryan, I
plenty
did so
of-
badly last year. It's not gonna.
So Matt is a very busy man. Matt works in the industry like us, and he's a very, very busy man and misses a lot of episodes is the issue. So he needs points every week that he is here.
It's true.
Yeah. We got Crash on 1 point, myself on 3 points, and Despawn, of course, you on 4 points.
Love to
You
hear
happy
it.
now? You happy now?
Ecstatic.
All right, let's quickly get through these so we can get Ryan out of here. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com, or you can join our Discord and ask some questions with the amazing community in there. A lot of good talks going on there, constructive criticism. We always appreciate it. Keep it coming. First one comes from Eldozo, and it says, what are your overall thoughts about the current Xbox strategy, and do you think we kind of already done this? To be honest, Eldozo, I hope what we said beforehand, you suffice enough. We've all kind of spoke on this enough. But Orange Cricket Man, with the increased numbers of myths being recently debunked, Series S being underpowered, but able to run Baldur's Gate 3 optimized / Xbox multi-platform strategy, Crash PC. Orange Cookie Man, you always go too crazy with it. When do you predict the online narrative will shift to see the approach taken by Xbox in a positive light? It won't. As we all know, it's not how things work. And once a narrative has been made about something, it is very, very, very hard to shift it in a different direction. Doesn't matter how many developers come out and say that's not the truth. It doesn't matter how many smarter people than me, because I'm a dum-dum on the internet that talks about games. I just don't see it changing. Go on, Ryan, please.
I will say I don't disagree with you, except because you didn't say it's impossible, and that's
No, of course.
it's not because I'm pretty much with you, except I think they would have to keep crushing it for at least a few years in a row. And the reason that I say that is because we can point to, I mean, the grandest example of them all, and there are others, but you look at a No Man's Sky, where the community
That's true.
hated that game because it so missed everybody was so amped for the potential of it. But we've seen this with Fallout 76 is another good example. But so the No Man's Skies, when the developer has put in enough work and really turns the game around, the community does come around on it. Cyberpunk is another example where they just hit their like very positive rating on overall rating on Steam. So the community is willing to change its tune, but it does take a long time and a lot of work. So I think that Xbox can get there, but they'd have to keep it going for a pretty darn long time. And can they do that? Well, I hope so. That'd be nice, but that's up to them.
Yeah, I just want to quickly jump on that. I want to to a point that you raised right near the beginning is Xbox have this kind of tendency of doing something great and then straight away standing on the rake. Avoid the rakes for a year. That's all we ask. If you could just have have these consistent hits, like you say, if Avowed lands, Fable lands, all of these land in the cadence that they're coming out with, and we don't have a bad PR nightmare land on the doorstep in that time, maybe we'll see more people come around. Maybe the third party kind of messaging that they're going for nowadays works. It seems to be working for them as they keep doing it. So yeah, maybe that's all it takes. It just takes that consistent, like you say, Ryan, that consistent positive spin every time.
Yeah, for maybe like an almost unfair amount of time, but I do think it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Crash. There's no way, bro. There's no way. I know you're holding back because Ryan's here.
So.
There's no way.
Like,
speak your truth.
Theoretically, they go for like 3. I think it would take like 3 or 4 years for this, like the narrative to shift. Because even when you're talking about like the multi-platform stuff, there's a part of the Xbox community that dislikes that. And you'd have to get so far away from it where they stop caring about that fact as well. So you have to go a year of good game releases, doing the multi-platform stuff, and then do that again for another year. And if they have a slip up of 2 or 3 games in a row, you get set back so far that it really is something that's almost unrealistic for them to achieve to a degree. I do hope they do it. I just don't think there's a lot of odds of that happening.
Fair enough. Anubis says, I feel with episode 500, it would be nice to bring up Dome favorite moments, your favorite moments. I know what maybe mistype here. In the MXAM, and allowing moments maybe not directly in the podcast, but in the MXAM ecosystem. Anyone got Ryan? Harder one for you, obviously. I think for me, big one was going on. I'm not to you're here, but going on locked was like a big moment for me. Everybody knows that, right? That was a moment in history, and it come at obviously a time during COVID, if I'm not mistaken, and a lot of things happened. And it was one of those big moments of like, wow, the industry's seen what I've done, And I think that only comes because of my Xbox and me, which only comes because me and Ross Miller start an Xbox podcast because Kind of Funny have a PlayStation podcast, and we think to ourselves, hey, there's got to be Xbox players out from that community that want to listen to some dum-dums talk about Xbox, and then we're here 500 episodes later. I think seeing everyone who's come together now, the team that we're building and things of that nature is well. Like I've always said, MXAM is a platform that I want people to be able to come on, express themselves in the website, if it's writing, or the YouTube channel with making videos, or whatever it is, and then be able to use that portfolio to go and get a job in the industry. And we've had that. Snowbite Mike. And people forget, but Snowbite Mike was my Xbox and me host for a multitude of months, doing this with me, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning at his time. It literally, you would see that guy tired as hell. I'm like, Mike, you good? He's like, yeah, don't worry. It's just when you hit that record button, I'll be good, bro. And he says it in his way he says it. And literally, as soon as we hit record, he brightens up, bam, and you look at what he's doing now. He's a beam of joy. So I think it's that for me is the biggest moment, right? It's empowering other people to do what they do. We come on, we're 4 knuckleheads. We say it all the time. We're 4 knuckleheads who talk a bunch of rubbish on the internet about things that we love. Of course, my camera wants to die right now because why wouldn't it? And I'm back. See, that is what MXAM is at the end of the day. We have Matt, who's, I always say this, I don't know how Matt is on this podcast. Matt is a big boy in a big boy job in the games industry. He comes on and we're just like, shut up, Matt. Despawn now got his editing job, working for the same company and doing all of what he's doing. And then there's Crash. Crash is here, It's great. I love Crash, it's cool. So those are my favorite moments. It's just us coming together and talking about video games. Obviously, my Xbox and me is the avenue in which we speak about all video games mainly, but yeah, just that. Crash, you've been here the second longest now. So
Yeah.
how are you feeling? As a favor, Crash, as a favor,
Wow.
you did this,
Yeah.
and look at you.
Yeah. I got stuck. I wasn't allowed to leave. Fix started dragging me back every week. There's a lot of stuff. I think the Tell Me Why thing you talked about earlier is always like something I look fondly back on, because that was just fun to get in there and like record that week to week and just be excited. Another thing is the Gears of War 5 spoiler cast we did forever ago. That's still probably like my favorite piece of content, because we were both also like very big Gears of War fans. To sit down and just go through that whole game and talk about everything about it, I think was very fun.
Who did you guys kill off?
I killed off JD.
I killed off Dell.
I killed off JD.
Yeah. Nah. Yes, Brian. Again. Yeah. These ones there, like I ain't played it.
I have. I've played them all.
Who'd you kill?
JD.
Oh, Matt.
Yeah, I never finished it.
Yeah. We knew that was coming. See, Brian,
I
you
finished-
see what I'm dealing with? You see what I'm dealing with, Brian?
I
You
finished
see what I'm
every
dealing
other Gears game except I never played Judgment, but that, we forget about
You're
Judgment.
good. You're better with
Yeah,
that.
you're
You're better
fine.
with that
You're fine.
decision.
I finished every other Gears game. I just couldn't get through 5. I don't know what it was.
Despawn, you got a favorite memory from doing this now? You've been here a while.
So I'm not just saying it because we're live and they can hear us, but I think it's the community. Like I think the community that we've built around this place has been fantastic. Some of them are better than others. Full Metal, you're okay. But
Full
yeah,
Metal's
no,
one of our mods.
yeah. He is fantastic, real. But no, yeah, the community that we've built around the My Xbox and Me and MXAM has been fantastic. Then just the support that they've given us to let us do some of the dumb things that we want to make has been brilliant. And yeah, long may it continue.
Matt.
That was kind of gonna be my answer. Like the 12-hour live stream, hitting all of our goals, it kind of blew me away, right? And like it always blows me away when we realize, and often I forget that anybody listens to this show, and then people like review the podcast, and you go like, oh shit, or like steal your mum's phone to review the podcast or whatever. Like it means the world, right? And like
that was the PRC version he just said there. You notice that Ryan's here? He didn't say the real version. Brian, our philosophy is at the end of the show we push the podcast reviews, right? The Apple ones. So I came up with kick your granny down the stairs and steal her phone.
To review
so
the
you
podcast,
can review it. No one's done it, thankfully. Like no one's actually done it that we know of. So, but there's a few grannies that's reviewed the podcast 5 stars. So we're thankful.
Exactly.
We're very thankful.
Yeah.
You've got to wonder, like, if people are looking for a new podcast on Apple and they're just going through the reviews before they listen to any of them, and they're like, why is everybody's nan in trouble on this one? Anyway, but yeah, that, and then it's going to sound a bit self-promo-y, but like us playing Resident Evil D&D is some of the most fun I've ever had, and we will edit that at some point and get it out to you lot. I promise.
We rebranded. It makes sense
exactly.
now.
We're ready for it now.
we can do it now.
So, exactly. So, but genuinely, I can't wait for that to go out because I think that's brilliant, and so I'm very excited for that. But the real answer, of course, is episode 300 when we had Ryan on last. That was my favorite
Absolutely.
episode that we've ever done. So there we go.
It was a good episode. It was a good episode. Ryan, any advice to keep going? Like we joke about it, right? Like I think this would be a good wrap up. We joke about like how long we're gonna keep going. Like we've done 500 was like the goal. We got there, and we're like now we've done a rebrand and things like that. Any advice to keep going? Like what would you suggest?
As long as you still have the love for it, because if you don't, the audience will pick up on it very quickly.
Yeah.
I still have the love for this. I mean, there might be, I'm sure there's some commenter like, no, you hate Xbox. You talk shit about it all the time.
Yeah.
No, I will criticize when I feel it's warranted. But like the last couple weeks I was on cloud 9 with all the great reveals. So yeah, it's like as long as you've like your energy will come through, whether it's positive or negative. And I so appreciate that you guys are trying to bring a positive energy into the gaming space, because I just agreeing with everything that you were all saying earlier. The gaming space needs more positivity, and that's not to say it's just blind praise for everything.
No. Oh no.
But no, it's balanced, of course. But you got to be honest and real about it. But yeah, just it's being negative is easy. That's just like the knee jerk. Anybody can pick at anything, and you want to crack jokes at this or that, but like actually just sharing enthusiasm with your audience. That's why people listen to you, is because they they love these platforms and these games, and they sense that from you, and it's just a shared thing, and that's, just never let go of that, is which is like the most cliche, ridiculous advice ever, but it's true. I mean,
No,
I still have fun doing an Xbox podcast after 19 years. And
Right.
I hope the day never comes where it's not fun for me anymore. But if it is, I'm sure the audience will pick up on it right away and let me know. But
Yeah.
for now, I still love it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Boys, it's your favorite time of the show. Let's plug, and get ourselves out of it. They hate plugging themselves. So, Ryan, we're going to start with you. Obviously, you do IGN. Obviously, you play video games. But we ain't heard nothing about Tesla today. So, come on. Let's talk about a car right now.
Well, yeah, I do love those vehicles, the vehicles themselves, and they are just super fun if you've never had a chance to drive one. And I was actually going to ask you, so I'm coming up on my 500th episode of my Tesla podcast, and you were saying that you've gone every week. So have I.
Oh,
So
wow.
my first episode of my Tesla podcast published on August 2nd, 2015.
Yeah,
so
I know it. Okay.
were you
I know what
like,
you're thinking.
and I'm coming up, it'll be the beginning of March. So you're about just over up. So did you start then beginning of July of
I ain't
2015?
got a clue. Ryan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't gonna be clue. We've done episodes where we had to do a 9.5 because Greg couldn't make it on an episode for one. Look, Brian, it's episode 500. You're asking too many questions. I get it. You're a journalist. I understand, but don't ruin this for us, okay? Don't ruin this for us. This is a moment. Okay? Don't do the math because the math won't add up. And yeah, whatever you say, July. That sounds right. Yeah.
So just don't check the receipts, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Just
Look,
so put it in the
we
wash.
come to you for accuracy. We come to us for entertainment. Okay, and that's how this
definitely
goes.
at least 500 episodes.
At least,
Probably.
maybe, possibly. Who knows?
Might be 600.
So how is the Tesla podcast going though? Like something, obviously that's a passion project. That's something that you do
I
in your
just
spare
have
time.
fun. Like, I've been a car guy my whole life, and when I first drove their first car, which a lot of people actually don't even know their first car. It was the original Tesla Roadster, which was an adapted version of the Lotus Elise from Your Shores.
Yeah.
Lotus actually built what they call the gliders. So basically, the cars without the propulsion, the electronic motors, and battery. So the cars themselves, and they shipped them over to Tesla in California, where they would drop in the batteries and the electronics. And they made like 2,400 of those over 4 years. And then they got their own factory and started building their own cars with the Model S. And it's just, they've gone and grown ever since. And yeah, they're just super fun cars. And the full self-driving is getting like freakishly good. In a lot of cases, I have a lot of fun with it. I've had the chief designer of the cars on twice, which has been really neat. Like the first time I've ever talked to the person that designed a car I own. That's neat to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're interested, you can find it. But
What's it called?
It's called Ride the Lightning, which is probably too cute for its own good, because if you just search for that, well, of course, Metallica comes up, but
Hell yeah, it does.
Well, I do love Metallica, which is part of the reason I was like, oh, it'll be like kind of a neat little nod to that. But SEO wise, bad choice by my part on the name.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Love it.
Same reason I put MC at the front of my name, because I couldn't just be Fixer. You put Fixer in Google, and I used to be a musician, so yeah, it's makes sense. Crash.
Podcast reviews. I want everybody to leave a 5-star podcast review. We don't care what you have to say. You can bash the podcast if you want.
Absolutely.
Gotta have 5 stars.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Have we got any new ones?
No, I checked. We don't have any new ones. I'm very disappointed in America for a lot of reasons, but that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, makes sense.
D-Spawn, what you got to plug this week, bud?
A little known site called IGN. Go show Ryan some love. I know there's not a lot of people who listen to this will have heard of him. I know he's like a new upstart and all that. No. I want to I don't really plug. I would say thank you, Ryan, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to hang out with you today. And thank you for helping us celebrate.
Appreciate it. Matt, what are we talking? What's going on in the world of future?
Oh, nothing's going on in the world of future. But if you're new here for Ryan, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Subscribe. We do this every week and have a whole bunch of more content coming for you this year. So subscribe, hit the like button, all those things. Kick your nan down the stairs, review the podcast on Apple.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know, Ryan. I know. You're not going to kick your nan down the stairs, but you could steal her phone. I'm just saying. You could review the podcast. I'm just saying. 5 stars. 5 stars.
5 stars.
You can find me over at MC Fixer. I'm back over on UB. So my contract was renewed, as I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, which is obviously amazing. I host and stream for them over there. There's a little video game you may have heard of called Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out real soon. Will you see this guy's face playing it? Yes. Please come and be nice to me because I'm scared. Anyways, until next time, we'll love you, leave you. See you later. Ryan, thank you so much for helping us celebrate. Hope you guys like the new rebrand. And until next time, we will see you then. Goodbyes.
Boy.